Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah,
Hello. Does my mic work?
yes, it does.
Cool.
You sound great.
Emil,
Yeah.
my friend is fangirling because we're having you as a teacher because her favorite game is It Takes Two.
Oh,
Could
really?
you say something to her if you have started recording?
Uh,
Her name is Lina.
hey, Lina. I'm trying to
Is
think if I
that
should say
all?
something. That's it.
Emily, you're fucking lame, dude.
uh, is she Swedish? I guess she's. Tack för att
Yeah.
du gillar mitt spel. Gillar du Cody eller gillar du mig? För jag gillar Cody, han är fin. Okay, there you go. That's my message to Lina.
Thank you so much.
I don't know. Is she a kid or is she like an adult?
She's an adult.
Oh, I talked to her like she was a kid. Oh well, she'll just have to take that. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm gonna show this tomorrow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Okay. Yeah. No problem. All right. So let's see. Yeah. So last yesterday, we were working on the railroad all the ding dang day. We were trying to add the player widgets to the overlay. But that went so bad that now we have a full screen status. What the fuck? What the heckers? That's not what we want. That's not it at all. So the problem was, right, that we did this. We did the player status. So we were in the overlay widget, right? We had this like add player status function. And we called that just in construct. And yeah, instead of adding the player status to like the overlay widget, like in its canvas, instead we added it to the viewport, and that's no bueno, Jose. We need to add it to the actual canvas instead of adding it to the viewport like chumps. So how does do? How do we do? So we need to get a
Is there an add to canvas function?
no.
Oh, okay.
No. That would be too easy. So what we need to do is that we need to get a reference to this canvas from code. We need to get a reference to this canvas from code. And one very easy way to do this is to name it something. So I'll name it like main canvas. I'm gonna stop playing. So I've named it something. Here I named it main canvas. Then we make a U property here. I'll do it here. Now I've never done this in C++. So I'm a little bit wary about how this is gonna go, but the way we do is we add meta equals bind widget. Then we make it a type uCanvas. Is that it? Is it canvas widget? Is it just uCanvas? Hold on, let's just go and see. Where's this? This. No, I don't think this is it. What the hell is it called then? Isn't it called canvas widgets? Oh, canvas panel. That's what it's called. Canvas panel. There we go. Canvas. Yeah, we have to name it the same thing. So I'll name it main canvas. So when we have this bind widget meta declaration, it will try to find a widget with this name and bind it to that. So in the C++ base class, if we have a bind widget with this name, it will try to bind this reference to, you know, the overridden canvas or whatever canvas we add in Blueprint here in the Shiner class. Hopefully, it's a little bit janky. It's just a smidge janky. So we'll see if it works. Now I'm sure I need to include this somehow. Oh, well, yep, we need to, so we got a weird Mary here, we need to forward declare it. So go ahead and do that. I'll go ahead and do that. So now, hopefully this should be bound. It's kind of hard to tell if it's been bound or not. This is why I kind of don't like the bind widget meta, because it's kind of hard to know if it worked or not. So I guess we'll just try it and see what happens. So now this main canvas should be bound to the canvas widget. So let's add our player status to this canvas then. So I'm gonna do, instead of add to viewport, I'm going to do canvas, main canvas. I need to include it, right? Where is this bad boy? Where are you? You are in UMG public components canvas panel. Okay, so it's in components / canvas panel then. Again, I'm looking for the public there. So after public, it's components / canvas panel. So that's what we include. Include. That's how you spell it. So we're gonna do main canvas and then please give me autocomplete. God damn it. Okay, so we'll look in here. Oh, there. Add child. That's what we want. Let's also add child to canvas. We'll talk about the difference between these two in just a second. So we'll do add child. There we go. So now we're attaching our widgets to the main canvas. How nice. So instead of adding it to the viewport, we're adding it to the canvas, which we should. Does the chat work? Hello. You guys typing something?
Yeah, we're typing right now, so if you don't see it.
No, I don't see it. God damn it. Oh, well, whatever.
Are you in the browser or not?
I'm not in the browser now. Maybe I should.
Okay, then that's why.
I'll go to the browser. 1 second. Hey, this is a secret part. That's only... I left Teams meeting now. So this is just between you and me in YouTube land. Yeah, I'm talking to you, specifically you. How are you today? Are you good? I hope you're good, because I'm not. I'm very tired. I know you are too. Well, the browser version does not work. Okay. Fantastic. Thank you, Microsoft, for making awesome software that always works. Well, the browser version didn't work. So fantastic. I will just not see chat today. Great. Fantastic. You had one job, Microsoft, and you fucked it up. Alright, hooray! Okay, so now we see player 0 up here. Great.
You're not streaming.
Chat. Saved. Okay. So now in the canvas, when I play the game, we see our player 0 status widget up here. How nice. How quaint.
Emil, inside the race overlay widget, which was the class that we set the player widget class property to?
What?
Can you show us the WBP race overlay again?
WPP? Yeah, sure. Here, so this is the VBP player status.
Aha, thank you.
No problem.
I'm getting some sort of error in the race overlay blueprint.
Okay.
It says a required widget binding main canvas of type canvas panel was not found.
Right. So that's the thing, right? Did you name this the same thing as the U property?
Oh, you need to name it the same.
Yeah, it has to be the same name. However, actually maybe not.
Yeah, it works now.
Alright, cool. Fantastico. Right. So this is one way to get widgets from C++. So when you're making a C++ base class, but you need to reference widgets directly, using this meta equals bind widgets is one way to do that. Another way...
Slightly squished though.
Yeah, it doesn't really look that good, right? We'll talk about that in a second. The second way of getting these widgets from C++, oh, excuse me, is to make a U function implementable event. To do something like this. You make a blueprint implementable event. And it's something like this, right? Get main canvas, and it just returns a U canvas panel. And then in blueprint, you override this. In blueprint, you override this. So I'll go into our race overlay then. Graph. So I'll go to the graph of the overlay widget. And then here in functions, you see like 40 overrideable. So I'll hit this override button here. And wouldn't you know it, there's our get main canvas. So I can override that, which creates a function We haven't really talked that much about functions. Like here is a functions thingy. Like what's the difference between making a function and making just a custom event? And there really isn't all that much of a difference, to be honest. The biggest difference is that functions can have return values, while custom events cannot. So that's really the difference between functions and custom events. So there you go. I hope that was illuminating. So here I will, in the return value, I will just plop our canvas in there. To do that, I have to make this a variable, so I'll make this variable on the main canvas. Check that bool. And then why isn't it showing up? Hello? You're a variable. Oh, I think the problem is yeah, so this is kind of the reason I don't love using. I'm not a huge fan of using bind widgets, because stuff like this can happen. When you're using bind widgets, you have to make it a U property, right? So the problem with that is now we're trying to make this a variable, but most likely somewhere it's saying like, oh, but there already is a variable called main canvas. This one that we made in code. So it's becoming kind of janky. So now it's like, oh, you can't make this a variable now. So that's the reason I'm not the biggest fan of using bind widgets. I just think it's way too jank. So that's why I prefer doing these getter functions. So I will actually remove this. But now you know about bind widgets. If you want to use it, then be my guest. You can do it. There we go. So instead of writing just main canvas, I'll just call this get main canvas and then add child to that. Right. So now in race overlay, I will hop on into graph. Yeah, there it is. So now it's here in variables. So now I can just return that. So there we go. So I'm overriding this get main canvas function that we define in C++. And all it's doing is just returning the main canvas. That's it. So now we have a super easy way to just fetch the main canvas from code by just calling this function. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like is this the way you recommend we do it? Like if we want to get anything through blueprints, we make a function for it, or?
For widgets, I will do this.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say I would recommend doing this just because it's way more predictable what's gonna happen. Like I've run into so many issues with bind widgets that are just kind of rough to. It's kind of really rough. So they just become kind of more annoying than just making a function. But I mean, if you think bind widget sounds nice, then I won't stop you from using it. It's probably good if you can get through the jank. Okay, so anyway,
Is bind widget the same as the little bind button at the top in the right side in the widget thing? You know what I mean?
You mean this one?
There. Yeah, is it the same as the binds on? No, the down, and then there's bind to the right of the variables. On the right side. There's.
Oh, here. Oh, bind. No. Oh, yeah.
Is that the same as bind widget, or is that
no,
different?
no. Yeah, that's a good guess, but no. These, I haven't actually talked about what these do. Maybe we'll talk about them a little bit later. I hate these. I hate these so much. But I know that some people out there love them. Like I remember at Hazelight, our art director loved these bindings here. And it just became so hard. Whoa! Did you see that? The whole screen is flashed. I got flashbanged. So yeah, so no, he loved these. We'll talk about them in a little bit. They're cool. I mean, there's nothing wrong with them. I just think they make the blueprints messy. All right. So now we have a canvas. So now if I play, then we see the player 0. Problem is
The function isn't even turning up for me.
turn it up. In override here, it's not showing up.
Oh, an override?
Yeah, we have to override it. So we'll have to go to functions and then override, and then it should show up in this list.
Oh, there we go.
Cool.
And the main canvas, you get that by the return value. How did you get that?
Yeah, so we have to make main canvas a variable. So we check that bool. And then you just return that.
Yep.
Yep. Yep.
The function doesn't show up in the list in the override.
Did you
I don't
make it
know
a
why.
blueprint implementable event?
Yep.
Did you recompile?
I think so, but maybe not the actual. Because sometimes I have to recompile the program, and sometimes I have to recompile the damn whatever it's called, the blueprint thing. So that might be the problem. I'm gonna recompile again.
Yeah, just restart the editor. Right, so we have the problem, right, that it seems kind of squished. Squish. Whack. We wanted to show up in the corner, looking very nice and dandy like it did before. Not squished up in the corner like this. Excuse me. So how do we do that? Well, if we remember from how we did it in blueprints, remember they had these settings here? And we would do like, size the content, and we set the anchor, and we will like set the position, and stuff like this, and alignment and so on. To make it look nice. And of course, we haven't done any of this from code. We've just like added it, and then, okay, then what? So we actually need to set up all of this from code to make sure that it's aligned where it should be. So, go away, dude. Oh, I can't delete it. Delete. Okay. For some reason it didn't work. Yeah, so we need to set that up. So let's do that. So I'll do like player status. We'll do like B size to content, and it's not showing up. Actually, nothing is showing up. Nothing is. I can't set the anchor. I can't do like set size. Like we have minimum desired size, but that's not really what we want. Get resource size bytes. That's cool. So now we need to talk about slots. What's the difference between a widget and a slot? You might remember if I drag something in here, like you can even see when I drag it in, it sort of looks the same. Like that's kind of just the default orientation of a widget. These settings here, remember that these changed depending on what I attach this widget to. So right now, since this is attached to a canvas, we get all of these anchor position size settings. But if I added them to like a size box, so you have a size box, and if I attach that player status to that size box, we no longer have those settings, right? So the settings are depending on which type of widget this is attached to. So if it's attached to a canvas, we get these settings. If it's attached to a size box, we get these settings. And you can actually see here, slot, size box slot, canvas, slot, canvas panel slot. You can see that these settings have kind of a funny name. And this slot concept is the thing that's very important right now. Let me paint you a picture. So in Unreal, widgets have, or the widget system has two concepts. It has the widget, which roughly describes what does something look like. What does it look like? Is it an image? Look like. Is it an image? Is it text? You know, is it a button? Blah, blah, blah. That's what the widget does. And then we have slots. And slots describe where is it. You know, how big is it? Where is it located? Blah, 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 etc. That's what slots do. So whenever we have our canvas and we add our widget, our little player status, it will create a slot for us. So in the hierarchy, you can see it's something like canvas creates a canvas slot, and inside of that canvas slot is our player status. So canvas is the widget, creates a canvas slot, and inside of that canvas slot is our player status widget. So we can have this like widget, slot, widget. And this slot is the thing that actually has the settings. That actually has all of these settings. For anchors, position, size, blah, 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 blah. So that is a property of the slot, which again controls where is it on the screen. And that's why when we attach it to, for example, the size box, it will create a size box slot. And inside of that slot attaches the player status. And you know, the size box slot might have completely different settings to the canvas slots. So widget describes how something looks. Slots describes where they are, how big they are, etc. Those are the two concepts. So that's why we cannot find any type of, set anchor, whatever, on the actual widget, like on the actual player status widget, because the widget does not care. The widget does not care about how it looks. All it knows is give me some area and I will draw a picture there, or give me an area and I will draw some text there. That's all it cares about. How it gets that area, it could not give a shit. So that's why we need to actually fetch the slot that was created by the canvas. So when we attach the player status to the canvas, we need to fetch this slot somehow, so that we can actually put the settings in there. Because the slot is the thing that actually has these settings. And wouldn't you know it, this addChild function returns a uPanel slot. So whenever we add a child to this panel, it will return the resulting slot that it created for it. So let's do it. uPanel slot. Man, slot is such a weird word. Slot. Like, it sounds funny, doesn't it?
Yes.
Thanks. Okay, so uPanel slot. Yeah. So if you go and look at it, there's a bunch of stuff. Nudge by designer. That's interesting. Does it have a nudge by programmer? That's funny, right, guys? What's in the visual then? Nothing. Yeah, so the problem with here, the problem we have here is that this uPanel slot doesn't actually really have any settings in it. I can't see any anchor settings. I can't see any position settings, any size settings. Like, there's really nothing here. It's quite a bare class. And that is because uPanel slot is the base class of a slot for all panels. So that is size boxes, vertical boxes, horizontal boxes, blah blah blah. They all, when they create a slot, they use this uPanel slot as a base class. Not quite sure why. That's just the way it is. And that's why this addChild is also defined in this uPanel widget's base class. So this addChild can be called on anything from, again, canvases, vertical boxes, horizontal boxes, and so on. This is sort of the base class, the uPanel widget addChild, like the base class for all panels. And that's why, so we can't really use this. Like, this won't help us very much. We can't set the position or size or anything from this. That is why it provided an addChild to canvas function. You might think, what's the difference? There really isn't much of a difference, like, functionality-wise. The difference is it returns this uCanvas panel slot. Whoops. It returns this uCanvas panel slot. So it will actually return the correct slot type that it's actually making. Otherwise, pure functionality-wise, it's really the same. Like, it's still calling addChild inside of it. Like, it's not really doing anything new. All it's doing is just giving us the correct slot. Of course, we could cast this as well. Since they are uObjects, we could just do, like, cast uCanvas panel slots. Like, of course, we can just do this. Just cast it. But why do that when it provides a function already that gives us a U canvas panel slot? So I'll do add child to canvas. And then I will make this a U canvas panel slot. There we go.
I have a general question about that. If you have an object of a derived class, and just for whatever's sake, you cast it to the parent class, and you cast it back to the derived class, will it somehow get back the derived class specific values?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it will be. You'll get the exact same thing back.
So even if you cast it to a parent class, it's somehow still saved somewhere.
Well, it's still the same object. Like this is just a pointer.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah, so it's not a struct, right? It's an object that gets newed somewhere. So it's just a pointer. So that means when we're casting it to the parent, it's still the same object. It's just that it's as a parent pointer. So then when we cast it back to the child, then it's just back to the same thing. But if it was a struct, then no. I think that's what you were thinking about. No, then no.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you cast a parent struct then back, then you'll get fucked up. Alright, so now if I checked out the slot. Hello? My goodness. I will crush you. Now, if we go to the canvas panel slot, we can see we have a bunch of settings. We have set position, we have set size, set offsets, no idea what that does. Set anchors, set alignment, woo! We are in fucking Tango Town, babies. Let's pretend that made sense. So now we can actually start setting this up like we want to. So now we can do set position. I don't know why I'm not getting gosh darn autocomplete. Hello? Slot.
Do you need to include a canvas panel slot?
Do I need to do that? I don't know. Let's try it. Where is it? I guess it's just in components.
I think it's in components, yeah.
Yes. Canvas panel slot. There we go. Perfect. Set position. So we'll set a position. That's a vector 2D. So that's just a 2D vector. In in Unity they call it like vector 3 and vector 2. In Unreal, F vector is just the vector 3, and then everything else is like vector 2D and vector 4. It makes sense, guys. So we'll do 80, 80. Just like we set it up before. Then we'll do set. I think it's this one. Auto size. I think that's the bool that would do like use desired size. Remember that in the widget. Like this one here. Size to content. Oh, sorry. Yeah, break. I didn't know what you meant by break. I was like, what do you mean it's gonna break? It's gonna work perfectly. But okay, you meant like, okay, yeah. Yes, let's take a break. Sorry, we've been going for too long. So let's take a 10-minute break. So let's get back 11:15. It's gonna break my legs. He's not that strong.
I can't get the getter function to show up in the blueprint, even though I recompiled like twice
Show me.
and saved. Let me just share my screen.
Show you.
Let's try it again. Save first.
Well, I mean, it won't compile now, but
All right.
you need
Whoops.
to comment on
I
that.
have to comment out this one. Also, I don't know why I feel it's easier to just set everything in code than doing it in like visual. See, race widget. Why does it complain about this one? Race overlay widget declaration
class
slot hides class member.
Oh, yeah, I probably have the same error. So please comment those 2 lines out. I'll talk about why later.
Yeah. Let's see. I just want to understand why the class doesn't show up, because I know I declared it as a blueprint implementable event.
No, it
here.
looks good to me.
And it's in the race overlay, I'm guessing, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, let's see now. Where is the...
You haven't set the parent class.
Which one?
You see up in the right corner, it says parent class user widget.
No.
Yes. Up
Where?
top right corner. Like the very top right.
Here.
No, more
Designer,
more top right.
graph, user widget.
Yeah.
Parent class, user widget. How do I set this?
See the file. Top left.
File.
Reparent blueprints.
Let's see, so it's supposed to be player status, right? This one.
Is it?
I'm not 100% sure.
What are we making here?
What's race overlay widget? Maybe it's this one. The default animation sample.
Where is the function that you're trying to call? Right, what was the class called?
Yeah, what was it called? The function is in race overlay widget.
Mm-hmm.
Where did do I have to go here again? Reparent. Oh, there it is. But
Yep.
will it work now is the question. Never works on the first try. Alright, let's see. Oh, but there it is.
Yeah, there we go.
Main canvas. Huh.
So you didn't have it as a parent, like you didn't you override
okay.
from race overlay widget.
Yeah.
Cool.
I knew I had missed a step somewhere.
It's always a step.
Wait, Emil, are you doing mentoring right now?
No, I was just helping. What was that a joke?
Well, sort of. I mean, I have a weird bug and I don't know how to fix it.
Okay, what's up?
If you check Discord in the FG21, you can see that when I try to navigate in the graph and the design panel, I think it is, it just keeps popping up the fucking whatever that is.
Oh yeah, I had the same thing. Try
How do I fix
closing the actual tab. Like instead of closing the window, try like middle mouse clicking the actual tab, like the animation blueprint tab.
Okay, I will try that.
I'm gonna go brush my teeth.
know. I don't know where she is. She usually is here earlier than I am, so.
Hello.
Hello.
Emil, can you show the code again? Yes.
I mean, this won't work, by the way. I wonder if he's if that's what he's debugging, but I hope not.
No, I think it's something else.
Okay, good.
Where did you get the canvas variable from? Did you make it in the blueprint? Or?
Yeah. So I made a blueprint implementable event.
Yeah.
And then I just implemented that in blueprints. Made sure to make the main canvas a variable. And then.
Oh, okay, yeah, exactly on the top.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That was
the one step. Man, they're having so much fun over there, and I'm not part of it.
Yeah, I think they're looking at like Steam profile comments or something.
Oh. Man, I have some FOMO right now. Why is my delete key not working? Unreal.
You could always come over here more often, then you wouldn't miss out on.
What do you mean over
fun
over
moments.
here? You're not there either, are you?
I'm always here.
Okay, can you raise your hand?
Yeah. Hello.
Well, David's head is blocking the way, but
Yeah, I'm here.
oh, there you are, in the very,
Yeah.
very corner.
Yeah. I'm in the.
He's
I'm in
behind
the.
me as well.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay, go over and
Behind
punch David in the face.
No. He looks pretty strong.
Okay, then I don't
wanna
believe
do
you.
that.
Then you're not there. All right. Can you
Who's
tell
that
those guys to
by-
stop having fun?
Who's that by Thomas and Ruta?
That's
someone
David.
in our class.
David Nelson.
Emil, did you say something?
Yeah, can you guys stop having fun on company time?
No. No.
Yeah, we're trying to work here, and you're
It's
very
really good
you're
here.
very distracting.
No, you're distracting us, okay?
Okay, well, fucking. I don't have a comeback. Shit.
Did you set the player status to be something in the class defaults?
Yep.
What did you set it to?
Just the VBP player status.
Have a look.
What were you guys having so much fun over that you didn't want to share with the class?
Oh, we were just looking at my Steam profile about how many people comment and being toxic towards a person.
What, really?
Yeah.
You're like
I'm
a
not
you're getting cyberbullied?
Yeah, I play CS:GO. Yes.
I'll cyberbully you. Hold on, what's your name?
What? No.
What's your name?
No, I'm not telling you.
Okay.
Thomas gonna go write shit reviews on your game now, Emil.
Oh,
Be
shit.
careful.
Crap. Well, I don't work there anymore, so I don't care, actually.
So who does that? Is that people you played with or
Yeah, both.
just
Anyway.
random?
Everyone just hates.
What
bad
are you
people.
doing that's making you so hated?
Don't ask me.
Okay.
You can disable that though, right? So randoms can't comment on your profile.
Yeah, but it's fun to
But he
keep
loves
a
to hate.
collection of it.
A
To
sample
show your
size
grandkids.
Yeah, look here, kids. Look what people online are saying about Daddy.
Discord to your Steam as well, so
Yeah. I mean,
easy to find.
just be warned when you go into it. You will be surprised.
Oh wow. Is there slurs? Are they saying slurs?
No, it's kind of the opposite. There's a lot of half-naked women on there.
Oh, nice, awesome, dude.
Oh,
So you're quite
why.
popular with the women, you say?
Yeah.
That's nice. Yeah. So let's continue then. Let's go on then. So I also want to set this auto size to true. And this auto size is the same bool as this like oh crap. As this size the content bool here. This is called auto size in the code for some reason. And that should be good, honestly. Let's try it. I need a shirt. Where's my fucking... Oh, it failed. How upsetting. Yeah, so we're getting this error, right? Declaration of slot hides class member. So the problem is that in uWidget, which is kind of the base class, like if I go to widget, user widget, we have this uWidget here. uWidget already contains a variable called slot here. Which means that we can't name this slot because local variables cannot shadow class members. So we need to name this something else.
What does shadowing mean?
Shadowing means, like if I wrote something like int apa, and then I did like if apa equals 5, then int apa equals 10. So here I have a variable called apa, and then in an inner scope I have another variable called apa. This means that there are two separate variables named apa, but this one, the one in the inner scope, will shadow this one. Meaning that when I write apa, I will actually be setting this one, because this one will shadow the older one. So whenever I'm writing apa equals 25, I'm changing the inner variable, even though they are named the same thing. And that's called shadowing.
Yeah, you're setting the local variable.
Yeah, exactly. So that's shadowing. In general, I think this is disallowed. I don't think it is for just local variables like this. Like you can shadow local variables. But they have set it as an arrow. They have set it as an error to try to shadow class members. So the same thing would happen here, where we're defining a new variable called slot, and that means that will shadow the class member, so we can't access this. But that is disallowed. So that's why we need to name this something else. I'll call it canvas slot. Sure. There we go. Oh, whoops, I built. So now if I play, now it looks correct. So now the thing when we spawn has been offset, or its position has been set to 8080, and auto size has been set to true, which means that the size of the slot won't matter. It will just kind of take its desired size.
How did you add the player 0 text, or like the player text to the widget?
Oh, I just did that in the player status widget. I just added an overlay here. I used size box overlay, and then I could add an icon and some text.
Oh, right. It's not like dynamic, so if we add the player 1, it's not going to say player 1 yet?
No.
Okay.
No. This is going to be hard-coded to say player 0.
Can we look at the code again?
We may. Actually, I have to go look at something.
When you did the get main canvas thing in the blueprint, what did you set the blue pin to?
Sorry?
The blue pin in the return a node in get main canvas in the blueprint. What did you set the blue pin to?
Made main canvas a variable. And then I just returned it.
Ah, okay.
So, the thing is that this kind of sucks. Right, having to set this, remember what the values are, and it's gonna get even worse as soon as we want to add more than one player status. Because then we have to remember, like, okay, which player is it? Is it player 1, 2, 3? And then it's like, okay, it's minus 80 here, and setting the alignment and blah, blah, blah. It's gonna suck. So that's why we're gonna use something called a named slot. Which means that instead of adding it, getting a slot out of it, and then just setting all of it, setting everything. Instead, what we're gonna do is that we're gonna create a slot already in the widget. Set all the values to what it should be. Create 4, one for each player. And then instead of having to manually set up these variables, we're gonna set them up beforehand. And then when we add the player status, we'll use like, oh, give me that widget. Like, give me that one particular one. And the way we do that is by, in the palette, I will use search for named slot. There it is. So here it is. So I will have a named slot. I will name it something. I'll name it player 0. Player 0 slot. And I will just position that where it should be. So I'll do, 80, 80, size to content. So now we have a slot here already set up and waiting for us. So to actually add it to that particular slot, instead of doing this add to canvas nonsense, what I'm going to do is that instead I'm going to call this function here set content for slot. So it takes a slot name and then a widget pointer. So we'll actually insert that widget into this, whatever this slot is, whatever the name of the slot is. So we'll create the widget like we did here, and then just set content for slot. And then for the slot name, we'll use player 0 slot, and then player status. So now we can actually change everything. If we want to move the widgets around or whatever, we can do that in Blueprint. We don't have to go here and hard code the positions or anything in code. We can just kind of do that in the Blueprint editor. And from code, all we have to do is just reference those slots that we made. Ah, perfect. So now we'll be attached to that named slot. So I can go into the widgets, player status. Oh, whoops, wrong widget, sorry. Erase overlay. And I can, move this slot around wherever I want, resize it, set all of its properties, whatever I want to do. And when I play, it will just go there. Fantastic.
is there no other way than having to put a string as a parameter for the set content slot?
Well, so that's the thing, right? It's not actually a string. Like right now, we're kind of using it as a string. It's actually something called an f name. An f name, as opposed to an f string. So an f string is like, you know, the normal std string. An f name is actually kind of a hash string. Like in other engines, I've seen it be called a hash string, and they are an optimized string, meaning that they get hashed to an integer, and then comparing two f names is just comparing an integer, and that's it. So they're more effective, or sorry, they're more efficient. So that's whenever you need to do this kind of string lookups, they almost always use f names instead of f strings to avoid that string comparison. However, right now we're kind of plopping the string player 0 slot into it, which means that every time it has to hash this string to make an f name. So really, like, we're kind of losing all of the performance there. So usually what you do when you're using f names is that you do something like this. Oops. Like that. So we make a static variable in the function where we just kind of pre-hash this string here to an f name. And then we use...
Can we create our own f names?
Your own f names?
Like if we want to use for like our own method parameter or something?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. You can use f names. They're very good. Very good to know about. So at Hazelight, right, whenever we did anything with strings, like to, I don't know, look up a player or look up an ability or something, we would always use f names. I would say almost we use f names almost as often as we use f strings. They're very good. So yeah, that's fantastic. So now we can actually start making the rest of the player slots. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna reuse this static here, and instead of just player 0 slot and just hard-coding them like that, I'm actually gonna make an array here. So I'm gonna do static f name slot names. I'll do player 0 slot, and then just add 4. Player 1, player 2, player 3. There we go. So I made a static f name array of just all of the f names for all of the slots. So now these will all be pre-hashed, so we don't need to worry about that. And we can reference them very easily by just doing slot names player index. So let's set up all of the slots then. So this will be 80, 80. Then let's copy that over. So this will be player 1 slot, player 2 slot, player 3 slot. So player 0 slot will be there, and then player 1 anchor will be top right. Minus 80, 80. Alignment 1, 0. Size to content is true. Then player 2 slot will be anchored bottom left. Then 80, minus 80. Alignment 0, 1. And then this one, we've done this so many times now. We could probably use something like a grid box or something to make this a little bit more streamlined, but it doesn't strictly matter. And this will be anchored on the bottom right. Then minus 80, minus 80. Alignment will be, whoops, 1, 1. There we go. So now we've set up all the slots.
I have a question about the code.
Yep.
Why are we setting the array to static, by the way?
So static in arrays. Yeah, we probably haven't talked about this actually. Static in arrays means that this won't be a local variable in the function. Meaning this won't be allocated every time we call the function, like a local variable. Like if I do int oppa, then you know, when we call this function, memory will be allocated for oppa, like 4 bytes in the stack. What static means is that these will actually live in static memory, meaning they will always be allocated when the program starts. Essentially, when the program starts. Meaning these actually don't exist on the stack. They exist in static memory always. They're like a global variable, like a local, like a function, local, global global variables. That didn't make any sense. But what's nice about this is that this initializer, when I do like slot names equals, this will only run when the program starts. When the program starts, it will do like equals. Okay, it will hash all of these strings, and then they're just there forever. So that's quite nice.
So it's because of the static, it does that, so it sort of compiles it into a plugin play or something.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That's pretty neat.
It's very nice. It's quite nice. So that means we only have to hash the strings once. Like it will only compute the fname hash for these once when the program starts, and then they're just there forever. Very nice. Whereas, you know, if I remove the static here, right, this array would be allocated on the stack instead of static memory, meaning that these will have to be hashed every time we call this function. Cool, so now we should be able to create all the player statuses. So we'll do 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. So I will add all of the player statuses for all of the players. And hopefully this should look okay.
Is the the anchor points relating to the corner of the widget handled somehow now?
Yeah, so we set all of that up in the actual WBP.
Okay.
Oh, that's the wrong one again. There we go. So we actually set that on the named slot. So the named slot have all the anchors and everything set up already. So you don't have to worry about that from code at all. We just have to say like,
yeah,
oh, yeah. Oh, sorry.
but it's using the top left corner as the anchor point, right? Or is it using like the center of the thing you're putting there?
This one is using the top left. This one is using the top right. This one is using
top right. Oh yeah.
And this one is bottom left. So they all have their respective anchor.
Why is mine not working? My right ones are not aligned the same. They're like more towards the right line.
Did you set the alignment here?
No, I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's
Thank
the
you.
alignment. So great. So this is a great way to be able to have code widgets that are actually coded in code, while still interacting with all of the layout tools that we have in the Blueprint editor. I mean, of course, we have all of those tools in code as well. They're just kind of more annoying to use.
So when I press play, I'm still just getting the one player in the top left corner.
Did you call all of these?
Oh, no.
Well, there's your problem. Right then. So so great. So instead of hard coding these to add the player status, let's actually let's add them properly. So I'm gonna remove these temp thingies. So let's instead add them, when we actually know that we have a player 0 and a player 1 and so on. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna go to the race game mode. And I'm gonna make this a U property. U race overlay widgets. There we go. Forward declare it. In fact, let's also this T subclass off. We set it to be a U user widget. But now that we actually have a base class for our overlay, let's update this T subclass off to actually be that race overlay widget. So then, in begin play, when we actually spawn the widgets, instead of doing this new object U user widget, I'm gonna do new object U race overlay widget, since now we actually do have a proper base class for that. Instead of saving as a local variable, I will do overlay widgets equals. So that's before we just had some auto variable here, like a local variable, because we didn't really care. But now I will set this U property, so that we can reference it later from from other parts of the engine. So like when we spawn the players, that's when we wanna fetch the overlay widget and actually like add the player status and so on. And then to do that, we also have to include it. So I will include it here. FG racing game UI race overlay widgets. I believe that was included. Does it compile though? It does. It does compile. So we're gonna want to reference this overlay widget from other parts of the engine or other parts of the game. For example, when we spawn the players. So to get the game mode, it's startlingly similar to how we got the game instance, I believe. So we'll do get world, get game mode. Yeah, exactly. Wait, what? Oh, not set game mode. Wait, what? Oh, it's I get AUF game mode, right? Yeah. So this is how we fetch the game mode from our world. Get AUF game mode. And again, we have a templated version so that it will automatically cast to, you know, whatever type you want it as. I'm gonna make the same thing as I did for the game instance. I will actually make a getter function. So I'll do get race game mode get u object world context, and I'll just hop over to our game instance to copy that. Oh god. Copy this u function here. So let's see, Blueprint Pure category race game instance. So this will be game mode. Display name won't be get race game instance. It will be get race game mode. And world context will be world context. Perfect. So now we have a way to get the race game mode from blueprints as well, which is nice. I don't know if this is supposed to be space here. I don't know. Yeah. So there we go. So I will implement this. And of course, I have to remember to make the function static. So there we go. So I made this a static function. It's like static a race game mode get with a world context. Made it a u property with this huge specifier. I just copied it over from the game instance there. And then I implemented it like this. Just get, oh no, not get world, sorry. World context, get world. My bad. That's the whole reason we have the world context. Oh, and it's, of course, it's supposed to return a pointer. Making a lot of slarvfel over here.
What does it say after world context?
What? Do you mean this?
Yeah, the huge function thing here.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so now we have a way to get our race game mode easily. So now I'm going to go to our start line. I'm gonna do add player status widget. So we're gonna do a race game mode. Get, whoops. So I'm gonna fetch the game mode, and then I'm gonna add it. So I'm gonna do game mode, overlay widget, add. What the hell was it called? Add player status. Index I. So the start line, whenever it starts spawning its players, it will also create the player status widgets for that particular player. So we have to include some things. First, we have to include the game mode. Race game mode. Then we also have to include this overlay widget class. This one, this URace overlay widget, because I only forward declared it in the header. So to call this add player status function, we also need to include this. So that's gonna be in UI. In general, the more things you need to include in C++, the better. So if you're ever in this situation where it's like, oh, I have to include race game mode, oh, and I also have to include the overlay widget, that's actually a good thing. Because that means you have been forward declaring stuff good a lot. That will speed up compile times quite a lot. Yeah, you don't write that like writing includes. Usually there's like an add include too, but it's oh, generate graph from include files. What does this do? Well, apparently nothing.
Can you show the includes? So I have everything. Okay, thanks.
Okay. So I seem to have forgotten a semicolon somewhere. In race game mode. Ah, here. Oh yeah, this was just on my test code to show. There we go. Okay, so let's see what happens. Oh. Oh dear. Right, so we're getting kind of a weird crash here. It can be kind of hard, tricky to figure out like what actually went wrong here. Since we're crashing inside of this race overlay widget, you might think something is wrong with this. Like maybe we set this to null or something. It's actually question mark, question mark, question mark. And, you know, it's just all kinds of fucked up. The clue here is this. Literally, this was null pointer. That means we called this add player status on a null pointer. Yeah, on a null pointer. And we can actually double check that if we go to begin play here. Like if I go to the call stack and just head up one step to this race start line begin play. If I hover over this game mode overlay widget, I can see that that's null. So why is this happening? Well, since I know for a fact we are creating it sometime, we are creating it at some point, like it has been working smoothly so far, it's always been on screen. Game mode is at null, so I can at least rule that out. So getting the game mode worked fine. It just seems like this overlay widget is null pointer. And the clue here is that since I know it's created at some point, that must mean this is being run before we actually create the overlay widget. So that's my clue. I can actually prove that quite easily by just looking up a few steps here in the call stack.
I keep forgetting, how do you get the call stack?
It's in debug Windows call stack. If you're using Rider, then I don't know.
I'm not seeing it.
Oh, you're running the game?
Oh, no.
Yeah, you need to run the game. Right. Hold on a second. Or hold on a second here. Why is the call stack looking like this? Have they changed something? Right. So it's calling the start play here on the game mode. So I'm just walking through the call stack, kind of finding out what the order of things is. So in UWorld begin play, that seems to be like the main entry point for begin playing stuff. So that calls game mode start play. So let's see what happens there. Oh, it says has match started. Okay, thanks game mode. Yeah, game mode is quite a crazy, quite a crazy thing. So then we have set match state. Okay, so what does that do? So set match state does something. We're on match state set. Handle match has started. Here it is. Get world settings. Notify begin play. So that's where we are. And it clearly seems like yeah, so here it's just going through every actor in the world and just dispatching it to their begin play. So it seems that the game mode is kind of responsible for passing out the begin play. And then it happens in this set match state. However, I have a feeling like we can kind of override this start match here. So the order of begin play is essentially random. So it's kind of is a bit random whether game modes begin play will run before race start lines begin play. Because that's the problem, right? We're spawning overlay widget in the game modes begin play. But it's sort of out of our hands if that happens before or after the race start line runs its begin play. So what I'm gonna try to do is just override a function that I know runs before begin play, and this start match seems to be a good candidate for that. So let's see if this is actually overrideable. So let's see, start match. Yes, so it's a virtual. So the start match seems to be run before every begin play, as in start match is responsible for actually dispatching all of the begin plays. So I'm gonna override this instead of begin play. But let's do that after lunch. So let's take lunch. I'll see you guys back at 1. Alright?
Can I have a quick question before?
Yeah, sure. Shoot.
I'm not getting any compiler errors like you are.
No.
Mine is like compiling.
Mine is not compiling, or mine is compiling as well.
It was?
Yeah, I just got a crash.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
sorry.
So that's fine. Yeah, no problem. Alright, so see you guys back. Oh.
Can we look at the race game of the CVP and H first?
I can't show them both on screen, but
for some reason, add to the overlay widget add to viewport it doesn't have that member.
Have you included it?
Oh, yeah, I have.
Really? Show me. It's at the viewport little p. Small p.
Huh? Oh. Fantastic.
Fan-fucking-tastic. Alright, see you guys at 1. Bye-bye.